our seats, let us join in a word of prayer. Almighty God, we thank you for the journey we're on as a church. We thank you for the opportunity that we have today to look at the journey that where we've come so far and where we wish to go. As we look through the report, as we discuss with one another our hopes and our dreams, may you be the focus of our lives. May you be the focus of our faith. Amen.
First thing on our agenda in the meeting, we're going to have Pastor Blair come forward for the pastor's report.
You see the report in the booklet. Let me just say this to add to it. I think we've come a long way since I've been here. A month after, a few months after I got here, we went through the time of COVID, where we were not meeting as a church. And our giving stayed pretty strong, and we stayed in connection the best we could, but we missed being together. And so we started coming back together, but we didn't come back together right away. It took us a while for some of us to find our ways back. The year after COVID, our attendance was in the 40s. Now we're consistently more like in the 50s. We have come along, but we have more to go. We have opportunities for growth within each other and within the community. So this is what I hope for this meeting and for our time together today and throughout this year, is that we can look and see where do we go from here. How do we keep who we are, what is valuable, what is special, what is unique and powerful about ourselves? And how do we find new ways of expressing that? That's the conversation I wish us to have. So, that is my prayer for us.
We'll have Kristen Tolan come forward for the Pastoral Relations Committee.
Well, I put our report in here, so you can all look at that. We didn't have a lot of meetings this year, just because it was a little harder to get together. We had some more personal issues that came up that we kind of tried to address right away. We just wanted to reiterate the use of the Facebook page, that needs to be a professional site. And just for everybody, if they have concerns, to come to our committee or the visioning team to discuss anything that they need addressed. And we're kind of the go-between between the pastor and the congregation. We just want to try and prevent anything from getting out of hand, I guess, trying to address it before it gets to a point where it's out of control. So we haven't had the listening groups. We might need to reformat that. We'll have to address that again. We kind of had seen limited effectiveness of those, but we still want to be available to talk about anything. We did help Sheila get her reinstatement process done and celebrated that. We kind of helped with the Plymouth Rocks campaign going forward with that. We kind of started at just being more a welcoming church and what that means to us. And we kind of tabled the open and affirming process a little bit and kind of tried to go in a little different direction with that. So we will continue to look at that and see what that process evolves into for us. We're working on addressing the visioning team job descriptions. That's going to require some changes to the Constitution, but we're still kind of getting the information together on that. I was hoping to have it done by this meeting, but did not get that done, so that'll be on the agenda for this next month or two. We had our review with Pastor Blair, which went really well. We had some good discussions, and we're going to be trying to meet a little more frequently, like at least once a month or once every at least 6 weeks, to try and help hold him accountable to what his goals are for this year too, and so just so we can work together and be available to people. I guess that's it. Do you want me to do the volunteer appreciation thing now, or is that part of this? Okay. Well, we just want to recognize some people who volunteer and do a lot for our church. This is always kind of an ongoing list. We know we appreciate everybody's help around here. It takes everybody to get things done that we need to get done. And I don't want anybody to feel like they're not appreciated, but I try and keep my list, like, not recognizing the same people every year and trying to kind of branch out. So don't anybody feel offended if they weren't recognized, but just know that everybody is appreciated. But this year we want to recognize Dale Mork. He's done a lot of help moving tables, cleaning up, helping haul things for us, and so much more that we just really appreciate that, Dale. Got a certificate for you. And then Diane Leitenberg. She's helped out with the women's luncheons, the bazaars, funerals, everything else. I mean, a lot of teamwork goes into all of this. And then Diane Spitzer, she's done a lot of help with the women's luncheons, bazaars, funerals, everything else too. And also Lori Cunningham for the same things. We've had a lot of events at the church this past year, and I mean, those women in the church are just impressive. It's just like clockwork and so smooth. If you haven't witnessed it, it's really amazing how all the women work together to get stuff done. And the men help too, don't get me wrong on that. All right, then Lois Korf. She's been putting her heart into the cleaning and has a lot of attention to detail. She's volunteered with almost every church activity we've held here, and she's just very much appreciated. Doris Stuziak. She has put a lot of effort in with the children and family of the church. We've had a successful children's program, had a wonderful VBS and Christmas program, and we just appreciate her hard work with that too. And last but not least, Alan Chapman for all his extra work that he has had to put in the past year as facilities manager. He has really gone above and beyond, gone the extra mile, and our church would not function the same without all of his hard work. So we appreciate you very much, Alan.
We'll have Sheila come forward for the spiritual life.
You should all have the handout entitled Plymouth Rocks 2023. And I just want to say a little bit before we go through that. We're off to a great start as we have established our foundation for Plymouth Rocks. We have done a lot of ministries both here within the church and outside the church that have started to share a little bit about our pride and who we are, and that we're ready to go forth. The prayer chain has established our deeper connection to each other and God as we have anchored ourselves in the bedrock of our faith. Our foundation, the church, is important to us to share with our community, and with our banner on the outside of the church, we are introducing ourselves once again with the message, wherever you are on life's journey, all are welcome here. And it lets people know what we believe about our church, that we welcome everyone and enjoy their presence with us. We have started to explore pebbles of our faith in Sunday morning worship. Our ministry affirmation box has collected many contributions of moments when God's presence has been active and at work. The things we are doing have a ripple effect, just like a pebble thrown into the water. We don't always realize the impact we have. And then there are stones that we throw out to get attention, like Plymouth Rock shirts, tote bags, and bumper stickers. We help build an awareness of who we are and what we believe. Events and activities that we offer become our rocks. Trunk or treat, prayer services, and supporting families at Thanksgiving and Christmas were all rocks for our church. We reached out to the community in important and meaningful ways. Rocks leave an impression. And finally, our boulder that is always there is our theme, reaching out to the community in kindness and spirit. It reminds us of what grounds our faith and what that faith calls us to do. Are you ready for 2023? So as I was putting this together, I thought it was important for us to recognize the things that we have done and started to implement with our Plymouth Rocks program. And even though I've been heavily involved with all of that, I was impressed as I started to list it out on paper with ideas and things that we had accomplished and come up with throughout the end of the year last year. And we're constantly tweaking things and adding to them and making things better. And it has been fun to partner with Christian Ed for the trunk or treat and anything else that they might need. And so as more opportunities arise this year, we're hoping to expand all of that. Now for new opportunities for 2023, these are ideas that Blair and I have talked about, and we're going to work hard to get some of these off the ground for sure. One of the important keys to all of this is that it takes volunteers to make this happen. It doesn't just occur just because we put it in the bulletin and people show up and things get done. So if there's something that you're interested in doing or helping with, let us know. If you have ideas for something that's not on this list, let us know. Because I've had kind of informal conversations with a lot of folks with different things, and they've come up with ideas that I hadn't thought about. And so it's kind of interesting to see what people think we might be able to do or what they would be interested in doing. And if it's something you're interested in doing, the effort that you put into it is going to be greater than if it's something that you just go, well, I guess I better be there because it's a church thing. So some things that we would like to try is come up with an invite a friend Sunday. That doesn't take a lot of extra effort. And I'm sure for some of you it's something you do already. Clothes drive. Maybe partner with an organization here in town at a time when they need to have something like that done. And there are clothes drives done all over town, so we'll try and do it in a time when it's not being done by someone else, so that we're kind of filling in those gaps. The progressive meal. It's kind of an idea that Blair had that I thought was kind of interesting. Just get groups of 4 or 5 people from the church together and invite them to have a meal together, share with each other, get to know each other a little bit better. Because even though we see each other every Sunday in church, we don't always know a lot about each other. And so it's an opportunity for us to kind of learn a little bit more, find out where people are struggling and what they might need, and just kind of build that support system. One thing that the Brookings Church has done a lot that I thought would be kind of fun is they have book studies. And some of the book studies that they have done, I've bought the books, but I haven't taken the next step of doing something. But having a book study where we just meet, read books, talk about them, and see how it might challenge our faith a little bit. Not necessarily something that Blair is asked to lead, but maybe one of us can do that. Women's Fellowship has already been approached about maybe offering some cooking classes, and so hopefully they've talked about that a little bit, but what could we do there? And I thought sewing classes would be great. I need a refresher on how to sew buttons onto an item and repair it, or I have a young man in my family that gets really upset when some of his clothing gets snagged. And what are the best ways to repair snags? So I would be interested in something like that, not doing it, but receiving the expertise of someone else. Offering some financial classes. Maybe giving people some information that helps them gain some financial stability and independence if they're struggling with some of those kinds of issues. Sometimes there are particular skills that one doesn't always learn as they're growing up, that it's nice if there's somebody who has those who can share. Developing a Plymouth rock garden. Corrine approached me about this, maybe doing a rock garden where we could maybe paint some more rocks, maybe some larger rocks, and add them into a rock garden out here near the north side of the building to kind of be an eye catcher for people. And my husband Gary has said it'd be kind of fun if we could figure out a way to take rocks and shape them in the form of UCC or something like that, to just kind of put a stamp of who we are out there. And then the next two on there, I put them towards the bottom because I know that it's going to be a challenge for us this year financially with all of the expenses with the heating system. But something I think we should think about doing is the Kids Against Hunger. When I called them, she said that usually if you have about 25 volunteers, you need about $2,500. So it comes out to about $100 per volunteer to buy the food that you need in order to pack the packets. And the timing on that, to get those supplies, it takes a couple of months. So if we want to do that, we have to let them know ahead of time. But I think if we could maybe think about doing that at some point, I think it'd be fun. We did that with Ipswich a while back, and it was a blast. Once you get your rhythm down and everything, then you can start goofing around with each other and talking with each other, and it's just a neat way to get to know each other in a fun setting. And then Table of Plenty. Zion Lutheran Church has reached out, and they want to get this back on schedule starting in March. But that requires money because you have to provide the food. And then there's also volunteers that are required to serve that. Now, you don't have to do it all. You can either serve or sponsor the meal. But what could we do to help with that? So that's kind of where I'm going to put all that out there. And really, I would love for people to come up with other ideas and things we could do that they're interested in. Like the Donuts for Teachers we did last year, that had an incredible response. And doing the gifts for the families at the holiday had an incredible response. And I want to keep building on that. The prayer services, we want to do those probably more frequently than we did last year. like every 6 weeks or so. But we've got to have ideas for what people would like to have for a prayer service. And then once those are offered, they're online on our Facebook for people to access whenever they might need to have that. And so there's already prayers out there for healing if someone is struggling and having a tough time. Or for the educators if they're struggling and feeling like they're not appreciated. We've got that out there. The prayer for rain, I think we're just going to let that be for a while. We don't need any more moisture. But it's there when the time comes. Any questions at all about the Plymouth Rocks program and how it might unfold more? Okay. Then I just have a few other things to bring up. We are looking for more people who are interested in helping with the video and audio systems at the church. William will be leaving for college in the fall, and we need more people on the team anyway now, just so that we've got people who are able to be here every Sunday. We've got backups if somebody gets sick, and just people who can pitch in whenever they're needed.
You
And
do
then-
not have to be an electronic expert.
No, you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to know everything. There is a training guide that William has put together. We just haven't printed it yet. So there's that to help with everything. And then once we've got some folks who are looking into that, we'll have a training session on how to run that. And you can do the basics, or you can have some fun with it. There's 2 cameras, so you can do the side views and that kind of thing. And it's really, I mean, I've done it a couple of times. It's not too awful bad, and it's kind of fun. You know before anyone else what images are going to be put out there, so you have a lot of control. So if you like to do those kind of things, let us know. One thing that was mentioned to me by someone who watches us online on a regular fashion is that we all look pretty gloomy and serious. She suggested that we might want to practice smiling a little bit, because you don't know when the camera's on you. And you might want to just smile a little bit, let people know you enjoy being here at Plymouth with other people, and that worship really isn't all that bad. Okay? So I want to encourage you, that's our challenge for this year, is to smile more in worship, okay? Not joke time, because sometimes that's not a smileable moment. But anyway, but just to smile a little bit and just show that face. We talked about the cards and the bulletins this morning, so you all know what that will be. When they come in your bulletins, they'll be random now. Not everybody's going to get them on the same numbers. There are still extra shirts with Plymouth Rocks on them. There's a couple large and a couple medium and a small, I think. There's one long sleeve medium. So if you need a shirt, if you're interested in a shirt, let me know, because we would like those to have a body wearing them instead of just hanging on a hanger. And we have more totes. They're hanging out there. We have bumper stickers. So once you get the salt and dust off your cars, we can put bumper stickers on and advertise who we are. And the last thing is, if you're ever posting about anything happening at our church on social media, just encourage you, this is a whole new world for me too, but use the hashtag Plymouth Aberdeen so that it gives that extra connection to us if people are searching for us. And we've been trying to put that on all of our video posts and things on Facebook. because nobody else can claim Plymouth Aberdeen. We have Plymouth Rocks as well, but there are a lot of groups that use Plymouth Rocks. So if you search for that, you'll probably get about 15 different groups. But we're getting that one as well. And then before everybody starts partaking of food after this is done, I would like to have a group picture of everyone who's wearing a Plymouth Rock shirt, so we can post that. So everybody with a Plymouth Rock shirt, come up here after everything is over, and we'll have somebody take a picture.
Some may think it's old, but this is new. New business about the boiler and heater update. Yeah, Alan can come forward with that.
Alan's back in the kitchen.
Hold on.
Right now, well, we've had a lot of problem with the boiler over the last several months. Right now, we're waiting for parts to a circulation pump, which will get the sanctuary back up and running. And the second boiler is still not operational by itself. When they come with the new parts to the circulation pump, they will again work on the second boiler. The parts they ordered are in for that boiler. They put them in, but it's still not firing. I should say it fires, but it won't keep running more than 2 or 3 seconds, and then it defaults and then starts up again. So we still don't know what's wrong with that one. In case you didn't know, one of the reasons we don't have heat in there is we had a water line break that provided the water to both boilers, and when the expansion tank drained from the pipe break, both boilers shut down. That's been fixed, and we now have heat in every place except the sanctuary. So as of Thursday afternoon, the parts weren't in yet, but they said 7 to 10 days. We hit that 10-day plus, so hopefully this week, coming week, the parts will be in and they can come and repair that circulation pump, and we should be back to having heat everywhere in the sanctuary, in the church. I guess if anyone has a question, I'd be willing to try and answer it.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Which contractor are we working with?
Climate control.
Thank you.
Yeah, they've been doing everything for the last 3 or 4 years. Okay.
So this is a part of the agenda where we kind of open things up. If you have anything you want to offer or suggest, we have in there visions. This is kind of an addition to what Sheila was talking about. If you have ideas or comments that you think, places of growth or changes that you think need to happen, that's also additions to the agenda if you thought we missed something. So now is your time to speak up or wait until next year.
Pastor. A few years ago, we were doing a program called Kiva. I was wondering how that is
I'm not sure.
doing. Okay,
I think it is inactive.
well, the problem is, when we donate money to Kiva.
Why don't you,
it keeps-
take some
it
time
keeps
to let
rolling over.
people who may be
Okay,
unaware of it, what it is?
okay.
Do you wanna
but
go
I was
use the
just
mic?
Why
wondering-
don't you come up and use the
Go
mic?
up front.
Take a few minutes.
A few years ago, one of our members, Bob Masters,
Shut
brought
it
this
off.
back.
Turn on the mic, Al. I might have shut it off.
Sorry.
Shut
Thanks. Got it? A few years ago, one of our members, Bob Masters, came back from Texas and seen that they were doing this down there. What happens is we take and go online and we float a loan to a third world country, a small business, like some ladies are making shoes, some ladies are selling clothing, and some guys want to buy a cow so they can do a milking operation. So they don't have the money to start out. So what we do is we float a loan of $25 or $50 or $100 or whatever we can afford. You go online, you find the individual, and you send the money in, and when that money is not given to them, it's loaned to them, then that money turns over and comes back to us in a period of time, and as this goes on, the pot of money is growing, because these people are very anxious to get a business started, and they are very good about paying back their loans. Very few of them default. We've done countries like Vietnam, we've done countries like China, we've done the Philippines, we've done all over the world, and you can look it up online and get it. And we used to do that a few years ago, and we have this money in there, but I just need to know who's running it and who's taking care of it.
This is a Fran question.
I think Fran might be doing it, but I think one of our members could probably be helping out with that. And I think it would be nice to have a report, once a year or something like that, find out how it's doing.
It says in here it's $125 is the balance.
125? Thank you.
So we have a $125 balance in that. I don't believe anybody's heading it up right now. Fran keeps track of it because that's part of her financial secretary duties, but she does not run it and she does not lead it. That's not part of her job description, and that's not an expectation we need to put on her. If somebody would be interested in maybe stepping up and getting that active again, it would be wonderful. Anything else?
I got a question for Alan. Have you made any thought about Little Eagle, or?
Yes.
With Little Eagle, I'll go ahead and answer that, Gary. With Little Eagle, what has changed within our relationship or the association's relationship with Little Eagle is that Little Eagle, along with some other places, a lot of the help has, the way of accessing the help to those places has changed from our association to the Dakota Association. Because they have a closer connection with Little Eagle. It's actually part of that association. So there's still ways of donating to Little Eagle. It just gets funneled through that association because there's more on the ground connection with them. Does that make sense, Gary?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just kind of disappointing to hear that.
Well, what we found was that Little Eagle, especially when they were struggling in between ministers, communication and getting the help to them was becoming more and more difficult. So what happened was that Louis Bluecoat stepped up and he says, you know, it just works better if we do it this way. And so Tim Fugman over at Ipswich, and because Ipswich has been very involved with Little Legal as well, we got together with and talked it over at an association meeting and with Louis and with the moderator of that association to see if that could work better. That's not to prevent or to discourage if we want to get a team together and do some repairs. We just would communicate through them through the Dakota Association rather than through Prairie Lakes Association, which is further away. Is that better?
Yeah, well, thank you.
Okay.
One update, thank you.
Anything else? Well, let's go ahead and bring a close to our meeting with a word of grace for our meal. Mighty God, we thank you for bringing us together today in fellowship. We thank you for the hands that are provided for this meal. We ask that you bless the food that we'll share together, as well as the fellowship that we have while we're sharing it. Amen.
We need a few minutes to bring the food out to this table, so just stay where you're at for a couple minutes, please.